It's a beautiful sunny day in Manhattan, and in lower Manhattan, you're looking at the parade route. The route in which the Rangers will travel from Battery Park to City Hall and be honored by adoring fans who have lined the parade route 10 and 20 deep. And welcome to our coverage of the Stanley Cup Victory Parade. I'm Sam Rosen along with John Davidson. Happy to be part of it. And what a glorious day for the Rangers, John. The celebration continues.
I think continuing is the right word, Sam. These people have had a great time. And I think it's not only the players and the management of the Rangers and people who work in Madison Square Garden, but it's the entire fan base of the New York Rangers who finally have a chance to celebrate, and why not take advantage of it? It's just a wonderful time for everybody, and certainly it's been a well-behaved group who've had a great time so far, and I think it's going to continue for just a little bit yet.
I use the words heroes and legends, and in fact they are, because this will be remembered for all time, the team that broke the 54-year curse.
That's exactly why a lot of ex-players, including myself, would like to look at these guys and really say thank you very much, because they did something that no one else was able to do. They did it in a great fashion, and in all sincerity, yes, it was great for the Rangers, and it was tough for Vancouver and New Jersey. But we've said this many times over the last few days, the sport of ice hockey just jumped right up about 3 notches, and it's right there with the other major league sports, and what a great feeling that is.
The excitement is building down around City Hall. That's where Al Trautwig is hanging out right now as he awaits for the players to join him. Right now we're going to go down to City Hall to Al, and he'll tell us what's going on. Al?
Well, Sam, these are the blue seats for this parade today. Skyscraper proof that New York today loves the New York Rangers, that the Rangers own New York. And after they receive the same treatment that Lindbergh did, the astronauts, Desert Storm troops, the Mets, and the Yankees before them, the New York Rangers will arrive here at City Hall. The fans got a head start. Some of them were here as early as 6 o'clock this morning, and as you said, 10 or 20 deep, with temperatures in the 90s and humidity very high. But no one seems disappointed that they're committing the time to celebrate this day. In 1940, we know that the Rangers went to a small room at the Royal York Hotel in Toronto and held a private party. There was no ticker tape parade, no parade at all. Very few people even knew when the Stanley Cup arrived in New York. But this is what a 54-year wait will do. Behind me, the steps of City Hall. That's where this Ranger team will be in just a short while. The Stanley Cup will be brought out. John Amarante will sing the national anthem. Mike Keenan, the mayor, will address the crowd. So will Mark Messier. And I think you will hear the chants of "Let's Go Rangers," which we've been hearing here for almost an hour and a half already. These fans can't wait to get this thing started. A few moments ago, as I glanced across the park, I saw the first signs of ticker tape. And as far as I can see, Graves sweaters, Messier sweaters, Leach sweaters, everyone here is wearing a Rangers logo. It is very well organized, it is very peaceful, and it's an absolute thrill to be here. The band has started to play, and in just a short while, this will be the receiving point for the 1994 Stanley Cup champion New York Rangers. Can't wait. Back to you, Sam.
Thanks, Al. They're having a good time down at City Hall. We've also sent Bruce Beck down to Battery Park, where the parade will begin in just a few minutes. And moments ago, he filed this report on what's going on as the Rangers prepare to parade up to City Hall.
Sam, it's an unbelievable scene down here on Battery Park. People started assembling at about 8:30 this morning. They're expecting 500,000 fans to line the parade route. And as you look to the crowd, you see people wearing Rangers hats, Rangers jerseys. It's an absolutely bizarre scene. And this line, of course, painted blue, emblematic of the New York Rangers. And it's very easy to get this crowd riled up. You guys ready? Support, posters, fans everywhere. What's your story?
I came from Staten Island, took the kids out of school. No school today. Gotta wait. I'm 43. I've been waiting since I was a kid, so they might have to wait a little longer. So
you got here early this morning. You excited?
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Over 30 years waiting for this. Over 30.
He's been here waiting for over 30 years, but this guy, a little bit longer. How long?
71. Waited 54 years for this thing.
54 years?
54.
Did you ever think you'd see a parade?
No, sir. No, sir. Well, I was here for the Desert Storm. I marched in the other parade, the Vietnam parade. Now I got the Rangers.
Finally get your real dream. What about you? You're a little younger. You're looking forward to it?
This is history. We're watching history, and it's the most exciting day.
Hey, how did you guys get out of school today? What's the story?
Well, school was over yesterday.
It's over?
Yeah. Over. So we came up here at 5:30 in the morning. We went down to my dad's work, and we just came down here. We were up at we came down here about 5.
Who do you want to see the most? What Ranger?
Probably Brian Leach, because he's like the first American-born player to ever win the Conn Smythe, and he's just amazing when he gets the puck, and he's amazing in the defensive zone.
Kids of all different ages here getting excited for this parade, and as Abraham Lincoln said, this is of the people, for the people, by the people. It should be an unbelievable day. We'll be along the route to report as we go. Back to you, Sam and JD.
Thanks, Bruce. It's just incredible to watch the build-up, John. I wonder how the players are feeling about all of this.
Well, I know they were in Brighton Beach last night. I hope they made it back on time. They had a great time with the Russian contingent of people, and the Russian players took a lot of their teammates over there and had a real blast, from what I understand. But
any vodka, sir?
Wasn't it amazing? Wasn't it amazing to hear that youngster talk about Brian Leach winning the Conn Smythe Trophy? And you really wonder, in years past, how many people in New York, children or whomever, knew what the Conn Smythe Trophy was. We certainly know what that trophy is. Is Mark Messier and Brian Leach. They're still hugging that thing, aren't they?
They've been carrying it around from the Letterman show to the Today show to the Howard Stern show. Wherever they go, the cup is with them. And we will continue our coverage of the Stanley Cup Victory Parade in just a moment. Look at that, getting ready to be tossed off the buildings in lower Manhattan
What an experience.
onto the New York Rangers.
That must be real. Can you imagine the energy that these people must feel? And again, this group right here, the players, I don't think they have any idea what's around the corner.
Well, the Rangers float has begun to head up Broadway towards City Hall, where Al Troutwig is awaiting them. Al, let's get your update. What's happening?
Sam, one of the first big events I ever covered was the 1984 American League Championship Series that sent the Detroit Tigers onto the World Series itself. And I remember walking into Tiger Stadium and thinking it feels a little bit like just another baseball game, and then suddenly right overhead, about 50 feet above Tiger Stadium, there was the blimp, and suddenly I knew this is not just another event. Who would have thought that the Rangers could have anything that would be covered by a blimp? But here we are. And the Gulf airship is one of the largest airships. It's 197 feet long, 7 stories high, and it's piloted by Peter Buckley and Hunter Harris on this hot, hazy, humid day in lower Manhattan. It's just sailing away now, probably on its way to Battery Park to capture the beginning of this Rangers Stanley Cup Victory Parade.
New York Rangers heading out from Battery Park up Broadway. Throngs of people. It'll be interesting to get the crowd estimates of this. The ticker tape has started to come down. And for the New York Rangers heading up there, a good time as they continue celebrating their Stanley Cup Championship victory.
It's been just a whirlwind ever since the third period was winding down at Madison Square Garden the other night. Everything just exploded. It all happened at once. The players have not had any time to rest, nor have they wanted to rest. It's just been a fabulous, fabulous ride.
You see the ticker tape being tossed down on Broadway along the parade route. You know what was great, John, in the post-game festivities, both here at the Garden, then the players went off to another party that went on to the early morning hours, is how the players were sharing it with the fans, letting the fans touch the cup, even on the ice, parading around, letting the fans reach over the glass and touch the cup.
As far as I know, it's the only trophy in sports that when you have the championship, the players stay out on the playing field itself. Of course, it's ice with hockey, and the announcements are made. The player who wins the most valuable player is out there on the ice, and then the players have a chance to celebrate. And if it's on home ice, you have the chance to celebrate with your fans. And there's a bond there that happens. And every person that was in the building in Madison Square Garden that night, well, I'm sure remember that the rest of their lives. They were there, they were a part of it, and of course the viewers had a chance to watch it. It wasn't like going into a locker room in a very private surrounding and having the commissioner of the league or whomever present it to the ownership. This was players first, ownership second, and fans were a part of the whole thing. It's just a wonderful, wonderful experience.
Get a lot of inspiration from fans, and when I was heading up to the broadcast booth on Tuesday night, I saw Stephen McDonald, who's one of the great fans, the police officer who was shot down in the line of duty, and I wished him luck and he wished me luck, and Bruce Beck caught up with him. He's at the parade today. Let's go to Bruce.
Along the parade route, it is wonderful to see the Stephen McDonald family, Stephen, wife Patty Ann, and Connor. And Stephen, what does this mean to be able to share in the enjoyment of a Ranger victory?
It's a moment I don't think we expected to see, and I thank everyone for making it possible. It makes me feel very good about New York and about life.
Your relationship with this team goes way back to 1986 when they used to send you tapes while you were in the hospital.
That's correct. Phil Esposito and the organization made it possible for us to watch the games in Bellevue Hospital.
Patty Ann, the excitement and the enjoyment of being here and sharing in this victory celebration.
It's wonderful to see all the New Yorkers come out for the Rangers. It's just being there at the game the other night and then being here is just wonderful.
With the Stephen McDonald Extra Effort Award, I mean, you have been a part of this Rangers family for many years, and there's got to be a special bond there between the two of you.
Well, the Rangers the organization have been wonderful to Stephen, Connor, and myself. They've not only been generous and supportive, but friendly. They've been wonderful.
Connor, you might be the biggest McDonald fan, of all. You've been at how many games in the playoffs?
I've been to the Islanders game, the Capitals, and the Devils, and 3 games? Many games.
Now, what about that poster? How long have you had that poster for? Who made it?
My grandma.
Wow, that's a great poster. I've seen you carrying that at the Garden.
Yes.
Who's your favorite Ranger?
My Victor and Mark Messier.
Great. I know that you're going to love every minute of this parade. I know you'd rather be riding in it than watching it, but that's the way it goes. And Stephen, on behalf of everyone involved in the Rangers organization, we're so pleased you're here to share this with us today.
Thanks.
I'm ready to do it next year.
All right, let's go back to Sam and JD.
Thanks, Bruce. As Stephen McDonald talks of repeat, the Rangers heading up the Victory Parade route on their way to City Hall, expected to arrive around 1 o'clock, maybe a little after. Our coverage of the Stanley Cup Championship Victory Parade continues in just a moment. A look at City Hall, awaiting the arrival of the entire contingent of the New York Rangers. The procession continues. Mike Hudson waving to the crowd.
See some of the players videotaping their own parade, their own cell. They're standing there watching everybody with their video cameras in hand. And what a souvenir that would be to take home and show your family and relations up at wherever the players make their summer homes.
And so many players are from small towns in Canada. I don't know that, you alluded to this before, John. I don't know if they realized how immense this would be.
I think they do now. I think they're just probably in shock realizing what's happening to them. Another thing that's quite unique is that a lot of the players during the off-season, during the next 2 summer months, will be able to at times take the Stanley Cup and take it to their homes. You imagine putting it on your front lawn in some little town in southern Saskatchewan or Ontario and inviting the neighbors over and maybe chill a little champagne, throw it in the top, and have everybody in the neighborhood sip out of it. Maybe the coaches who were coaches when these kids, when these players were 9 years old or 8 years old, and these coaches drove them to the arenas and coached them in the middle of the cold mornings up in Canada and helped them along their way to become professional hockey players. Everybody would get a part of this, and that's just another unique thing that happens to the champions of the National Hockey League.
I mean, you think about how hard it is to win a championship, to win a Stanley Cup. And we know athletes in all different sports who have played so many years in whatever their sport and haven't been able to win. But here, this group able to put it together for this long journey to the Stanley Cup. Al Trotwig is standing by at City Hall as the Rangers are making their way there. Let's go back to Al right now.
Sam, something's really bothering me. What's wrong with this picture behind me? What's wrong? Who's missing? You and JD are missing, aren't you? It's tough that the assignments worked out that way. I mean, I'd love to be able to do something for you. I really would. But I don't really think there's anything we can really do for you. Or is there?
Here we are.
I feel like Monty Hall.
Well, we're in the... What do we...
Sam and JD,
yes?
There's a police escort that's going to take you right here to City Hall. Get out of there.
Are you serious?
Let's go.
Look at this.
He needs you guys.
What the hell is going on?
Follow those men.
Mayor would like to
Follow those men.
Sounds good. Come on, let's go. Give you a ride.
We'll see you from City Hall. This is great.
I can't believe it.
Well, if the New York City Police can't get him here in about 5 minutes or less, then we're all in trouble, and I think that's exactly what that police escort is going to do. I know that for as much as Sam and JD wanted to talk about this parade and carry you through every inch and step of the way and talk about all the great moves and great moments of this season, they really wanted to be here. And with the help of the New York City Police Department, New York's finest, they are going to be here. Don't forget the briefcase. You have to pack, but you won't be here for very long. I wish I could have seen that. It must have been interesting, but it's going to be great to see Sam and JD because they've sweated this one out with everyone else. JD, and I'll never forget this for as long as I talk about the Rangers. When John Davidson took a drink of champagne in the Rangers locker room, he really looked like a player who had played, and I think deep in his heart, he was taking a drink of champagne for all the great Ranger players who have played but have not won a Stanley Cup. But thanks to this 94 team, they can share in it a bit. Now behind me, everyone's waving, fanning themselves. It is extremely hot, and of course it takes a very special team to create a scene like this on a day in June in which the temperature is 90 degrees. And you can think about a special moment for just about every one of the Rangers in this parade today, and you look at this glorious scene. As Bruce Beck told you, the New York City Police Department estimates that there are maybe 500,000 people taking part in this festival today. And you know, there were many years when people who scoffed at hockey in New York said, I don't know what all the fuss is about, there are only 18,000 Ranger fans. Well, they were wrong. I'm looking up at balconies. People are standing, throwing out confetti. Construction workers atop a skyscraper. From along this course, we get another report from Bruce Beck, who has now made his way finally to City Hall. Bruce.
Well, the old days of ticker tape are gone. They've been replaced by hockey cards, toilet paper, and even computer printouts. It really doesn't matter what it is because the fans are tremendously excited right here in the Canyon of Heroes. Neil Smith and his lovely wife Katya with the victory salute. The Rangers, Sergei Zubov, riding in the car. It's an unbelievable scene with tremendous protection on either side. It is difficult to try to get a comment from the Rangers because of such tight security. But I'll tell you, they're just raining down paper here on the Canyon of Heroes. It is an unbelievable scene. Sam, JD?
Well, there's no way Bruce could have known that Sam and JD would get a police escort to make it from Madison Square Garden studios downtown to Broadway and City Hall. And now they're playing the music here at City Hall that became so popular after a Ranger goal as Madison Square Garden rocked. Now things are beginning to settle down a bit as I believe most of the players have arrived here at City Hall. And they're cheering as if Mark Messier just scored the goal. Tremendous spirit here amongst the crowd. Now, let's see, the local time here is roughly 20 to 1. Some of them have been here for almost 7 hours already. And as they sweated out the cup, they're sweating out this day, but every single one of them will tell you that it's worth it. I just saw a banner. I live in New Jersey, but I love the Rangers. And as the Rangers went to the Meadowlands, they found that out. The Stanley Cup champions are about to receive the keys to the city and take the Stanley Cup to the steps of City Hall. Back in a moment on MSG.
The crowd is roaring for Sam Rosen and John Davidson as they made their way down to City Hall from our studios at Madison Square Garden. They'll be joining us shortly.
We just had the most marvelous ride from the Garden, thanks to the New York City Police Department, Hal Lawler and
Jack McGovern.
Just great. What a ride down. They're the best, and I can't, this is undescribable. I'm speechless. It's fabulous.
Being in the police car coming down Broadway with thousands of people and everybody in the most wonderful festive spirit you can imagine. This is big, and you don't realize it until it gets fabulous.
The city has stopped. I was walking through Wall Street. I picked up a slip that was down on the street. They're using it as confetti. $290,000 buy. It was just thrown out on the street as confetti. That's the way the city has stopped today.
And that's like you, Bruce. You're always buying. Every hour he's on the phone buying. This is fabulous. The fans are just fantastic. The New York City Police Department is doing a marvelous job. I can't say enough about them.
I'd like to say thank you. We were working inside at Madison Square Garden, and you could sense what a wonderful party this was, Bruce. And all of a sudden, I don't know how it happened, but we got kidnapped, and here we are. And I'd just like to say thanks, because it is very special to be here and be a part of this. This is really something.
It's now my great honor to present to the people of the city of New York the 1994 Stanley Cup champions, our New York Rangers! Now it's official, the curse is broken. The Rangers are #1, and New York is #1. For over half a century, the Rangers have not had a championship. They came close a couple of times with some of the great names in hockey, many of them with us today. Andy Bathgate, Jean Rattel, Eddie Giacomin, Rod Gilbert, Vic Hadfield, Ron Greschner, Ulf Nielsen, Dave Maloney, Emile the Cat Francis, John Davidson. But they never drank from a Stanley Cup until late Tuesday night, when every New York hockey fan, their dream came true. This Ranger team not only stands at center ice this afternoon, it's taken an entire city, taken its heart, and this city loves the Rangers. This parade, this reception is for the players and the coaches and the owners and all those who work with the Rangers. It's to say thank you. It's also to say thank you to the very best fans in America, the fans in New York. The last time the Rangers won a championship, Fiorello LaGuardia was the mayor of New York City. To show you that continuity of support, just the way the fans supported the Rangers for 53 years until this one, I've invited all the living mayors to come back today to pay tribute to the Rangers. John Lindsay couldn't be with us because he's in Virginia, but he was the mayor of the city of New York during the Mets' first championship and the Knicks' only 2 championships until this year. Mayor Abe Beam is here with us. Mayor Beam, will you please stand up? Mayor Beam was the mayor during the Yankees' win over the Dodgers in 1977, in which Reggie Jackson became Mr. October the way Mark Messier is now Mr. June. Mayor Ed Koch is also here. He was the mayor during the Yankees' 1978 victory and during the Mets' 1986 World Championship. And Mayor David Dinkins is now here. Mayor Dinkins? Mayor Dinkins was the mayor during the Giants Super Bowl victory, and he was the mayor when this season began, and I share this, whatever credit we get, Dave, I share it with you. Thank you. Make no mistake about it, to every one of these Rangers, this is your home. New York is your home. It doesn't make any difference if you came from Edmonton or Quebec, Ontario or Alberta, even if you came from Vancouver. Today, New York is home. And this is the time to applaud the Vancouver Canucks for a great performance. The mere fact that none of you come from New York should make none of you feel that you're not at home. None of us came from New York either. We all came from somewhere else, or our parents did, or our grandparents did. But what we find in New York is what you saw during the spirit of that parade. This is, in fact, the most remarkable city in the world, and they showed it today to this team that they love. The Rangers have just been given what I believe is the most wonderful parade that can be given to anyone, to any group of champions. Your double overtime victory in Game 7 of the semifinals against the New Jersey Devils was the greatest game in the history of hockey. Matto, yes, come on. Your 3-2 victory in Game 7 over the Canucks, that was the most exciting and most dramatic last 2 minutes in the history of hockey. You're talented, you're exceptional, but the thing that we love about you the most is that you work so hard. You are so conscientious. You give a great example to all of the people of New York. I want to thank each one of the sponsors who helped to sponsor this parade. We'll give you all their names so that you can have them and appreciate the fact that they've helped us put this parade together. Governor Mario Cuomo wanted to be here today very, very much. Please, the governor is in Albany trying to work out the strike that's going on with the Long Island Railroad. The governor asked me to say for the entire state of New York, thank you to the Rangers and thank you to the Ranger fans. It's now my great honor to present to you, could you please come up here, Neil? To present to you the general manager of the Rangers. He held this team together during the tough years, and he's held it together now through this great year. His selection of the coach and the players was inspired, and his love for his sport and for his players has created a tremendous morale on this team. He and his wife, Katia, live right here in Manhattan, in New York City. He takes the subway to work. And from the first moment that I met them until now, they tell me how much they love this city. And I can see it in the way in which the Rangers present their game every single time they play. That wonderful video of New York shown on the screen. This is a true New Yorker. It's my pleasure to introduce the general manager of the Rangers, Neil Smith, a New Yorker.
Thank you. I don't need to say very much with a voice like this. You know what I've been doing? I just want to thank Mayor Giuliani for an unbelievable last few days in the parade for the New York Rangers. But most of all, I want to thank the best people in the world, and that's you. We did this for you, fans. Thank you. It was always a dream to bring the Stanley Cup into New York City, and we did it. Mark did it, Mike did it, and the players. And we did it because we wanted to be New Yorkers. We love New York City, and we know we have the best fans in the whole world. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much, Neil. My partner in city government is Peter Vallone, the Speaker of the New York City Council. Peter is a great New Yorker who works hard to help this city, the entire city, He is a great sports fan and a great Ranger fan. It's my privilege to present the Speaker of the City Council, Peter Vallone.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We presented to all of you something that's going to go down in history the same way your names are now on this cup, with a lot of other great players. But on behalf of all 50 of my colleagues, and indeed all 8 million of the people in the city of New York, thanks for bringing such great honor to the Big Apple, and we'll never forget you. Thank you.
This man has led teams before to the best record in hockey. This man has led teams before to great seasons and great victories. He is a leader, and when you watch a Ranger game and you see him standing behind the Rangers on the bench, it reminds me of something that Phil Rizzuto told me about Joe DiMaggio. Phil Rizzuto said that he loved playing with Joe DiMaggio because even when the Yankees were losing 10-0 and it was the 8th inning, he would look out in center field and he would see Joe DiMaggio standing there. He'd turn back to the plate and say, "We're going to win." This man does the same thing for the Rangers. He is a great strategist, but most importantly, he is a great leader of men and of hockey players. And he brought the cup to New York. Thank you, Mike Keenan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
First of all, on behalf of our hockey club, I'd like to express my deep appreciation We love the pressure, don't we? Our players were committed from day one. In September, before our departure to London, England, they made a huge and rich and deep commitment to win the Stanley Cup. They carried that commitment from September until June the 14th, 1994, when they finally defeated the Vancouver Canucks. We can't say enough about the leadership of Mark Messier. I have to say also that we were able to win the 7th game because of the support that you gave us throughout the city and during the game. That was an extremely difficult game and contest to win, but our fans' support stuck with us. When the score was 2-1, when the score was 3-2, you helped us finish it off. We're indebted to you, and we appreciate the fact that New York City, you the fans, love the New York Rangers, and we'll always remember this day forever. The one thing that we mentioned to the players was that if you win this trophy, you win this cup, you'll walk together forever, and they will walk together forever with you, New York City. Thank you.
I would just like to say there are two famous words that we had in our dressing room all season long, and if anybody's ever been in a tug of war, it's sticking together and just pulling all in the same direction. And every day we've said these two words, and I want my teammates in all of New York City to give me 3 big heave-hos together. Heave, ho, heave, ho, heave, ho. This one is unbelievable. There's only one thing better, and that's 2. Heave, ho, 2 in a row. Heave, ho, 2 in a row. Heave, ho, 2 in a row.
I believe that was an ad lib.
And now, there'll be one final word. One final word, one final speaker. Mark Messier.
Thank you very much. Just a couple short words. I know everybody's been here a long time, but I think Jimmy Valvano, the late great Jimmy Valvano, said it best when he says, "Don't give up, don't ever give up." And I think you guys have proven that theory right. And what Mike Keenan also said is that you win at this and we'll walk together for the rest of our lives. Having experienced this before, I can honestly tell you that is the honest truth, that we will walk together for the rest of our lives. And just briefly, there's also some people that were forgotten a little bit. I'd just like to say on behalf of my teammates and the entire organization, thank you to all our trainers who worked more hours than we did throughout the year, that made all this possible for us and did the job for us behind the scenes that nobody ever sees, to all our trainers. And on behalf of all my teammates, we'd like to thank the city, Mayor Giuliani, and all you people for a day in our lives that we'll never forget.
Well, the most powerful thing about all this is that everybody got a chance to wake up the next day and feel a little bit better about this city and believe that anything is possible. We'll have a chance to live with that for a summer, and we'll have a chance to see that banner raised to the roof of Madison Square Garden. To Seal Seidel, you got it. And to all of you, you do too. Thanks for coming, and congratulations. John Davidson and Dave Maloney are here, and we've heard so much about what the players think already, JD, and you and Sam back in the studios. But, you know, the feeling, as I said on the air before, of seeing you sip the Stanley Cup and seeing you Game 7, Dave, was that you actually felt like you guys had won a little piece of this, huh?
Well, there's no question. They carried an awful lot of baggage, these boys that were playing out
Just a little bit.
And I do want to say, if JD hadn't got hurt in '79, you see, we might have been out here. No,
I think it was more the guy who hit Bunny LaRocque in the head. That's who I think.
To be honest, you know, we were here in '79, but there wasn't quite as many people.
No, it was as hot. I can remember it being as hot that day. But in all fairness, outside, the two things that I really came away with was it's funny how life works, you know, when you come here from a farm in Canada and you manage to stick around and the franchise gets frustrated. Then I, as a spectator, am able to watch and take part of it. It is wonderful. And secondly, with all the hoopla and all the emotional baggage of the franchise, that Game 7 was a spectacular hockey
really
game.
Was.
My goodness, what a game.
And New York City really showed its best side,
You know,
right? Huh?
All these ex-players, David, myself, and others who live in the greater New York area, again, hockey was number 4, and we knew it, and we respected that fact. At least we were up there. But it seems to me in this last few days, it seems to have gone like this a little bit, and we feel pretty darn good about it. And New York City, spectacular. This is a great place to be.
And I think the bell curve is on its way up. I mean, at least in this town. How many years did you hear from people who scoffed at hockey and said, I don't know what you guys are talking about. There are only 18,000 Ranger fans, and they come to every game. But we had a policeman here a moment ago who's talking 1 million, maybe 500,000, whatever it was huge.
The perception of the game is changing, I think, Hal. The perception is turning into reality that it is a great sport. Upstairs behind us here, I was just in there with the players and their wives, and a gentleman got up from Sports Illustrated, and he was handing out commemorative issues for the New York Rangers run to the Stanley Cup that'll be sold right now in the New York area. And to see Sports Illustrated do that in this area, this is all part of it. It's growing and it's wonderful.
Hey Dave, you know, he has gone big time. You know how he got here? Anchoring in the studio back at the Garden. A police escort comes for JD and Sam so they could be here.
It's all right. He deserves it. He does a terrific job, and it's just good stuff. I can't believe it's still JD, but it's still JD.
2 years ago, we used to be in the back of those police cruisers, David, but it wasn't for something like this. Now, you wrote in your column today in the Daily News things about a lot of the Rangers who should take pride in what this team has done. And if I remember correctly, you talked about Dave Maloney, big game situations. This is the kind of, is that what you said about Dave?
No, that was bad. And
so what was it about?
Well, David always had a big heart when he played the game. Always played with emotion. Always, you knew when David played, he would give everything he had because he was he's an Irish guy. He's Irish and he's emotional, and he gives it everything he had. His brother Donnie, same way.
If you're emotional, did you shed a tear when the cup was?
Sure, definitely. I shed a tear. I'm not adverse to admitting that. It is a big factor when you take part in something, and we tried. Darn it, we tried. All those guys that pulled on that damn uniform tried, and it's just fate being what it was. It wasn't time, or for whatever reasons. Now to take part in that, damn straight I shed a tear. It was just great stuff. It was terrific.
JD, I'm glad you could be here. Thanks a lot.
You.
Dave Maloney.
Great.
We'll continue our coverage of the New York Rangers Stanley Cup Victory Parade from City Hall in New York City. Back in a moment on MSG. Well, that just about does it. Our day began in the early morning with the parade assembling at Battery Park and things getting ready here at City Hall. By now, all the tons of ticker tape has rained down upon the New York Rangers, and they've taken just another step in celebrating their Stanley Cup. We've spoken to just about everyone involved here. It was great to see Sam and JD and Howie Rose, and the mayor so earnest in his support of this team. Mike Keenan hearing 4 more years, and Mark Messier getting a chance to hoist that Stanley Cup up one more time. But we all know why the New York Rangers captivated New York, and while there were maybe as many as 1 million people here today, it was because the Rangers were good enough to be the best team in hockey and then turn hockey into one of the great stories with the performance in the playoffs and the victory that they enjoyed.